Primal Sun with the Primal Sun Foundation. Today I'm very excited. It's nice and early and quite frosty out. But we're going to do this video because the Creator has granted us the opportunity to do so. So to all those that have been following, this will be the initiatory video, the real first view of our Primordial Blueprint. And just a reminder, this Primordial Blueprint is essentially a life map or a blueprint, a setting that shows us all the different aspects, the main aspects of our life, what challenges we are going to work through and what lessons we're going to learn in order to bring us back into full realization, into the full center, into the full core of our being. Now, as you can see here behind me, I don't have the best markers, but I'm using what has been provided. And so you can see, this is the Primordial Blueprint. Now, in the north, this is the direction of the air, and that represents the Buddha or the saint, right? The Holy One. Now, to the south, we have the earth, right? So we have air and earth, heaven and earth. And this is the archetype of the medicine man or the shaman or the medicine keeper. Now, to the east, we have the lover, which is the water element. And to the west is the warrior, is death, is transformation. Okay, so these are the four main archetypes that make up the Primordial Blueprint. Now within these archetypes, or in between I should say, which will come later on down the road, in between each one of these there is a mesh, there is a blend between the two, and these spaces are filled with what we would call sub-archetypes or other aspects of your being. Now again, this Primordial Blueprint is to help us connect to life in a deeper way. Now this is what I personally, my soul has experienced on this planet, the many different aspects of our being, because we're not just one of these archetypes, we're not just a Buddha, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because we are a Buddha, but when we strive to just become one thing, we may not realize its polarity and how it actually merges us into a greater whole. So with something like the Buddha archetype, where this is the realm of going beyond, right? This is the realm of no time, beyond the mind, right? If we look at the teachings of the Buddha, if we look at the teachings of the saints, they are not attached to the material world. They actually have transcended it in a way to where they walk lightly on the earth. They don't walk with such density. They walk with more light energy. They walk with more purification. They walk with more silence. They walk with more or less attachment to what binds them. And they're focused on something beyond the scope of the world or the scope of time. Okay, so if we look deeply into the Buddhahood, the meditation, right? Because for each one of these archetypes, there is a technique, a power, a strength, and I believe there's one more thing. I don't have my notes with me today, unfortunately. So I'm going just based off, and this is only an introduction, so we'll go deeper into each archetype, but we'll touch on everything. So as I was saying, so the Buddha nature of transcendence, of going beyond, right? That technique of meditation, that is what ascends the Buddha. The pulling away from the external and focusing deeply on the internal is what allows us to remember that we are beyond this physical experience, this physical life, this physical body, right? So that detachment is a staple. Meditation and detachment, and also silence. Now, how do we know this? Because if we look at the polarity of the Buddha, of the air, it'll be the earth, the shaman, the medicine keeper. Now, what is the medicine man all about? Well, for starters, excuse me. For starters, the medicine man or the shaman is all about tradition. Is all actually about the earth. Now, we have these two aspects, right? We have transcending the earth plane, but then we also have connecting deeper into the core of the mother. So we have this ability to go beyond this dimension, but also we have the ability to connect deeper and feel the roots and feel the pulse and feel the life that sustains us from beneath our feet and that bursts everything on the surface. You understand? So we cannot just choose to deny one of these things. Now we can be completely in our animalistic nature and forget our divinity, or we could be complete divinity but not do anything good while we're on this earth, right? So this is why this blueprint has been created, because to tell people that they just have to be a hunter all their life, or to tell people that they just have to be a Buddha all their life, is not necessarily the full truth. The full truth is that you are at the center. You are at the core. The true you is at the core of all these experiences. But you will walk this path, and you will walk this path, and you will walk this path just to walk yourself back home, basically, or to be fully realized in all of your experience. Now, we didn't just come here for one thing, we came here for everything, and that's why the Primordial Blueprint exists, because this is the walk of life that has always been the walk of life. Now, it may be different names, but the energies are the same. Why? Well, because this is ultimately an elemental blueprint as well. It's an elemental map. Now, again, this works with the four directions, right? We know our ancestors honor the four directions. The indigenous of this planet, they have always honored the four directions, the direction that the sun comes up and that the sun goes down, and everything in between. So, this is what we're saying here today, that all directions, all corners meet in the middle, or spring from the middle. You see, that's the thing. They say, where does the Buddha come from? Right? It says the man came from the middle of the river. Why did he come from the middle of the river? Because there is no other source. This is the only source. If something is going to come out of nothing, it's going to come from the center of it, you see, because it has to spring out from inside of it. Everything is from the inside out, just the way a seed is born from within itself. And the external just nurtures that internal ability. So that's why we created this. Be like, well, if everything's inside, what's the point of this blueprint? What's the point of all these things? Now, again, what I just said, the external nurtures the internal. It can do that, just the way the water nurtures the seed, or the soil holds the seed. This is that. This is all this is, and that's why we work with the elements, because we do not see the truth as having a face on it. We see the truth as power, real power, righteous power, life-nurturing power, which is the fire, earth, air, and water. It does not belong to anyone. It belongs to creation itself. It belongs to the earth itself, and we belong to the earth itself, especially when we choose to walk a path in harmony with it, and that we can use these elements to learn about ourselves. So we're actually also here to dispel all of the casting and the spells, as far as thinking that someone else has the answer when the earth and its creation has the answer. So we look to that creation, because we are that creation, and we come from that creation, and the earth needs us to realize that, so that we can actually move forward as humanity with understanding the basic principles of existence. Okay, so as I was saying, I don't even remember what I was saying. The Buddha and the medicine man, right? So we see that these are two polarities, and it actually, if one is vibrating and the other is vibrating, then if they're vibrating together, then they're going to meet at a certain frequency. Now, so that is what all these four corners, these extremes represent. They represent the path that ultimately vibrates you back to your center. So, yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good introduction as far as the Primordial Blueprint. I'm going to make following videos going deeper into each archetype. Yeah, and so I want to thank you so much for, just allowing yourself to see the truth, and for allowing me to share. So I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Primal Sun with the Primordial Blueprint. Please, like and share if you feel that this resonates with you at all. Thank you so much.